Midnight lights glow across the river. Blue reflections fall along the tide. Every step a silent rhythm, cold reflections drifting wide. Glass towers shine above the skyline. Neon colors blend into the night. Every spin a quiet current, dark descent beneath the light. Steel beams stretch through the midnight. Silver water moves under stone. City windows burn in the distance. Every tower stands alone. Concrete rails run down the walkway. Cold winds sliding past the line. Every ripple in the river cuts the shine. Blue reflection shift under arches, streetlights fading through the rain. Quiet traffic down the harbor, it echoes through the lane. Footsteps drifting near the railing, slow and steady, line by line. Every shadow on the water redesigns. Midnight lights glow across the river. Blue reflections fall along the tide. Every step a silent rhythm, cold reflections drifting wide. Glass towers shine above the skyline. Neon colors blend into the night. Every spin a quiet current, dark descent beneath the light. Hold the breath now over water. Silver currents start to bend. If the silence opens slowly, night extends. Midnight lights glow across the river. Blue reflections fall along the tide. Every step a silent rhythm, cold reflections drifting wide. Glass towers shine above the skyline. Neon colors blend into the night. Every spin, quiet current, dark descent beneath the light. Midnight lights glow. Rise and catch it. Midnight lights glow. Cross the river. Midnight lights glow. Cross the river. Midnight lights glow. Cross the river. Break the silence, whoa. Light cuts through the crystal stone. Crystal sparks rising, whoa. Golden veins inside the seam. Hidden fire starts to glow. Break the silence, whoa. Strike the light beneath the ore. Crystal flames rising, whoa. Amber dust across the stone, and your heat begins to roar. Iron rails down the shaft, stone dust on the floor. Steel tools strike the granite, crystal shards and ore. Golden grains in a tray, cold rock in the seam. Deep beneath the mountain, tension, pressure gleam. Pressure locked in the stone, hidden heat below. Color starts to break the dark, starts to glow. Break the silence, whoa. Light cuts through the crystal stone. Crystal sparks rising, whoa. Golden veins inside the seam. Hidden fire starts to glow. Silence, whoa. Strike the light beneath the ore. Crystal flames rising, whoa. Amber dust across the stone. Ancient heat begins to roar. Iron ladders in the dark, cold rock walls around. Hammer strikes on granite, go through the ground. Crystal shards on steel, sharp edges in the seam. Every fractured surface holds a the silence. Whoa, light cuts through the crystal stone, crystal sparks rising. Whoa, golden veins inside the seam, hidden fire starts to glow. Silence. Whoa, strike the light beneath the ore, crystal flames rising. Whoa, amber dust across the stone, ancient heat begins to roar. Scarlet Ladder rising, oh, oh, oh. Steps cut through the midnight sky, climb the fire higher, hey, hey, hey. Steel and crimson in the dark, every rung begins to rise. I race along the tower, going through the frame. Scarlet paint across the ladder, burning like a flame. Boot steps on the metal rungs, echo through the height. Every level closer now to the light. Steel lines up the tower, night begins to split. Every step above the ground ignites the grid. Scarlet Ladder rising, oh, oh. Steps cut through the silent sky, climb the fire higher, hey, yeah. Metal sparks along the rails, every rung climbs high. Every rung climbs high. Scarlet Ladder rising, oh, oh. Crimson lines across the night, climb the fire higher, oh. Steel reflects the burning sky, every step ignites. Higher past the rooftops, past the city line, every rung above the skyline redefined. Scarlet Ladder rising, hey, yeah. Steps cut through the open sky, climb the fire higher, whoa. Crimson steel against the dark, every rung climbs high. Every rung climbs high. Scarlet Ladder rising, oh, scarlet sparks across the sky. Climb the fire higher, hey, hey. Metal towers through the night, every rung climbs high. Into light, steps still rising through the night. Corner cafe near the station, steam rising from the bowl. You were shaking pepper lightly, dark snow falling slow. Tiny grains across the noodles, little shadows on the plate. Morning light through the window, waking up the day. You laugh once across the table, black sparks on porcelain white. Suddenly the quiet morning felt alive. Pepper dancing on the morning plate, heat drifting through the air. Spark, 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 little stones across the flavor. Small fire everywhere, pepper scattered in the sunlight. Tiny stars across the bar. Spark, 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 every laugh inside the moment still begins to glow. Years linger in another city, different streets and different rain. But a single taste of pepper brings the morning back again. Tables, cups, the smell of coffee, light across the tile. Every memory, all that laughter, waiting for a while. reflection, pepper falls again, and the smallest grain of flavor pulls me in. Drifting through the sunlight, heat dancing in the air. Spark, spark, spark. Every moment of that morning, still burning there. Pepper shining in the morning, black stars on porcelain light. Spark, spark, spark. Every memory of laughter still ignites. I'm falling slowly across the plate, and the smallest spark still waits.
Lantern light across the plaza, painted horses stand in rows. Music box beneath the platform, turning soft and slow. Ticket stubs and summer laughter, dust and sugar in the air. Someone winds the brass machine, and music gathers there. Wooden poles begin their climbing, golden rings begin to glide. Every lantern in the twilight spins the ride. Carousel turning through the evening square, painted horses rise and fall. Calliope across the lantern air, music wrapping all. Circles forming quiet stories, spinning through the glow. Carousel glowing in the amber twilight, golden poles reflecting light. Every turn a small horizon in the coming night. Painted wings and carved illusions, moving souls and slow. Carousel drifting through the lantern plaza, summer music through the air. Every revolution carries echoes everywhere, circles drawing silent patterns across the globe. Years later in another station, rain across the window glass, but a faint mechanical rhythm brings the circle back. Painted horses in the memory, turning slow again. Every quiet evolution returns the then. Lantern shadows stretch and wander, music starts to flow. Somewhere in the spinning rhythm, time moves slow. Carousel shining in the silent plaza, golden horses through the night. Music drifting over cobblestone, soft electric light. Every turn another memory, letting go. Carousel glowing in the midnight lanterns, calliope across the square. Every circle of the rhythm floating in the air. Wooden wings and painted riders drifting slow. Machines remember movement even when the square is still. Music hides in copper gears until carousel spinning through the quiet midnight, golden poles against the sky. Every revolution holding years that wander by, lantern light across the platform fading slow.
Crystal anchor, hey, 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 yeah. Chains fall deep into the ocean. Crystal anchor, hey, 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 yeah. Steel holds fast against the tide. Dark waves crash below. Crystal anchor, hey, 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 yeah. Heavy weight beneath the water. Crystal anchor, hey, 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 yeah. Iron rings across the hull. Storm winds start to blow.
Salt wind across the boat, cold spray on the steel. Ropes pulled tight along the deck, lines begin to reel. Heavy chain through iron rings, groaning through the guide. Stone wave dropping through the dark into the tide.
Deep below the shifting current, crystal wave descends. Steel links carving through the water, down the column bends. Ocean pressure holds a silence far beneath the keel. Every drop of iron tension starts to seal. Waves crash over timber. Night begins to shake. Every chain along the deck starts to wake. Steel rings cry in tension.
Storm begins to rise. Every link beneath the hull stabilizes.
Hey, 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 hey. Chains fall deep into the ocean. Crystal anchor, hey, 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 hey. Steel holds fast against the tide. Dark waves crash below. Hey, 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 hey. Heavy weight beneath the water. Crystal, hey, 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 hey. Iron rings across the hull. Storm winds start to blow.
Ocean floor beneath the vessel, stone against the sand. Every chain begins to steady through the hand.
Crystal anchor, hey, 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 hey. Chains fall deep into the ocean. Crystal anchor, hey, 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 hey. Steel holds fast against the tide. Dark waves crash below. Hey, 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 hey. Heavy weight beneath the water. Crystal, hey, 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 hey. Iron rings across the hull. Storm winds start to blow. Morning tide along the quay, green poles in the water. Green poles rising from the shoreline, woven baskets on the dock. Fishing boats tied close together, ropes wrapped tight to cedar blocks. Salt wind through the narrow walkway, footsteps on the timber pier. Wooden crates beside the channel, early traders drawing near. River current through the delta, boats begin to sway. Ropes and planks beside the channel guide the way. Timber docks beside the quiet water, fishing nets along the pier. Cedar hulls against the tide like harbor bells ring clear. Wooden bridges cross the river channels, green poles standing by the shore. Salt wind moving through the walkways, trading boats once more.
Yeah, baskets stacked along the walkway, cedar beams beside the quay. Footprints crossing narrow planks, echo near the sea.
Oh, ropes tied fast around the bollards, painted hulls beside the tide. Morning market forces rising, river running wide. Boat horns drifting through the estuaries across the foam. Every quiet river current leads them home. Cedar docks beneath the rising daylight, fishing sails across the bay. Wooden planks and woven baskets start the day. Flimmer rail beside the narrow channel, salt wind rushing through the pier. Trading boats against the shoreline, drawing near.
footsteps after boats depart. Tide keeps tracing patient circles on the chart. Fishing nets across the working shoreline, cedar hold beside the quay, wooden docks along the water frame the sea. Flood wind drifting through the quiet channel, boats returning near the pier, footsteps fading on the walkway, night draws near. Tide grows slower, dark climbs low. Woodbound tanks soft below. Meteor carved a white line through the sky. You stop mid-sentence on the hill. The telescope beside the railing, pointing nowhere, suddenly still. Wind moves slowly through the grasses, cold air resting on the ridge. For a second everything was quiet as the sky began to split. Silver fire across the dark horizon, your hand moving toward the star. We both saw the same moment before it burned apart. Dive, 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 dive across the midnight atmosphere. A streak of light cuts through the dark. Meteor riding through the silence, a line no night can hide. Dive, 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 gravity pulling sparks of silver down the long invisible arc. For a second all the heavens open like a mark. Later trains move through the valley, windows flashing in the night, but the sky above the platform still held that sudden light. Every conversation drifting back to that same line of flame. Oh, every map of quiet memory turning toward the same. Somewhere far beyond the mountain, that same fight continues on. Single, silent, traveler, already gone. Dive, 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 dive through the cold and endless dark. A falling star across the air. Meteor crossing through the silence, leaving brightness there. Dive, 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 dive through the quiet atmosphere. A line of fire across the sky. For a moment every distance felt close enough to try. The sky remembers brief arrivals more than endless nights. Some lights travel only once and still rewrite. Dive, 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 dive through the silent atmosphere. A burning line across the night. Meteor fading past the ridge, but never out of sight. Dive, 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 dive across the dark horizon line. For a second everything made of real signs too quiet. Wind across the rail, but somewhere far above that line still sails. Take me through tonight. Take me through the night. Oh, oh, oh. Lights spill over the midnight street. Turn the silence, go to hell.
Paper signs above the windows, choir lantern says willow branches near the entrance, moving in the evening air. Soft cafe light behind the glass, people there. Night begins across the courtyard. Signals softly rise. Every doorway through the passage opens wide. Take me through the night. Lights spill over the midnight street. Turn the silence gold. Hey, yeah, yeah, yeah. Neon windows across the hall. Soft voices blow. Take me through tonight. Whoa. Take me through the night. Take me through tonight. Whoa. The rows of golden lanterns, steps aligned, every quiet glowing window redefined. Take me through the night. Lights spill over the midnight street. Turn the silence gold. Hey, yeah, yeah, yeah. Neon windows across the hall. Soft voice. Take me through the light. Glass reflections along the lane. Silence gold. Hey, yeah, yeah, yeah. Amber lamps along the arcade. Night flows slow. Little shadows through the corridor. Quiet lamps remain. Soft footsteps through the golden hall. After rain. Parachute hopping in the morning sky. White silk catching sudden wind. Blue horizon under sunlight. Miles of air to fall within. Run free. Hey. Parachute drifting through the open heavens. Clouds dissolving far below. Every breath becomes a silence. Only winds and know. Run free. Door of the aircraft standing open. Cold air rushing through the frame. Engines fading into distance. Calling out your name. Harness lines across the shoulders. Hands steady on the rail. Nothing under but the valley. Nothing but the gale. Then they jump into the brightness. Gravity begins to bend. Sky becomes an endless ocean. They're the only friend. Feels and rivers turn small. Mountains drifting in a haze. Every second in the falling feels like endless days. Parachute going in the rising sunlight. Silver wings across the air. Floating through the open distance. Nothing anywhere. Run free. Parachute sailing through the quiet heavens. Lines of silk against the blue. Every motion slow and certain. Every breath feels you. Run free. Cloud shadows on the water. Wind carving quiet lines. Gravity becomes a whisper in the sky. Nothing holds the drifting moment. Nothing mocks the way. Only wind and endless distance guide the day. Parachute rising with the morning thermals. White wings catching every breeze. Floating through free.
Coastline clouds unfolding endlessly. For a moment, every boundary sets you free.
Run free.
Sky grows quiet, fields appear, wind still whispering, run. Free, 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 free.
Silver signals across the skyline. Glass dome opens to the midnight sky.
Every star aligns above the tower. Silent systems tracing light.
Marble stairs us through the tower. Copper rings around the floor. Silent lenses face the heavens.
Through the glass once more.
Shots spread wide across the table. Numbers etched in careful rows.
Silver rails beneath the ceiling softly glow.
Blue horizons past the rooftop. Going sliding through the frame. Quiet signals on the console. Running through the flame. Footsteps drifting near the railing. Slow and steady, line by line.
Every lens above the skyline reads the sign. Silver signals across the skyline. Glass dome opens to the midnight sky. Every star aligns above the tower. Silent systems tracing light.
Hold the breath above the city. Silver patterns start to bend.
If the silence opens slowly, signals never end. Silver signals across the skyline. Glass dome opens to the midnight sky. Every star lies above the tower. Silent systems tracing light. Signals rising.
Ivory compass on the cabin table. Needle steady toward the north. Charts unfolded near the lantern. Salt wind moving through the port. Harbor lights along the water. Quiet holes against the pier. Every line upon the paper brings the distance near. Silver needle keeps its promise through the shifting night. Every bearing slowly pointing toward the light. Ivory compass on the ocean chart. Lantern shining through the dark. Go higher, go higher, go higher, go higher. Every voice finds a bearing from a single spark. In the midnight harbor, needle steady toward the star. Go higher, go higher, go higher. Every sailor reads a distance from where they are. Years later on another shoreline, maps and letters on the desk.
drifting through the room. Every quiet rotation inside open bloom. Needle leaning toward the northward, lines begin to show. Every row beyond the harbor starts to glow. Ivory Compass in the rising daylight, lantern fading from the cave. Go higher, go higher, go higher, go higher. Every traveler reads a future from the sea. On heaven's needle, carving through the blue. Go higher, go higher, go higher. Every course across the water feels new. Lantern echoes, salt and wind. Maps remember distant harbors, even after years. Ivory lines still drawing frontiers. Ivory Compass through the burning sunrise, needle steady as the tide. Go higher, go higher, go higher, go higher. Every harbor opens slowly, far and wide. In daylight, lantern fading into sea. Go higher, go higher, go higher. Every bearing points a future yet to be. Ivory Compass on the table, needle resting north. Quiet harbor calling forth. Wind over the ridge, morning light unfolding. Cliff edge over the valley, cold air cutting through the sky. Feathers shift in silent balance, golden circles drifting high. Shadow crossing over granite, wings against the early blue. Every motion drawn with patience, nothing forced or new. Upward currents through the canyon lines, the wind begins to draw. Every feather reads the movement of the law. Fly, 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 fly. Falcon rising through the morning skyline, silver wings against the sun. Air becomes a silent highway, every current one. Falcon drifting through the open heaven, circles widening in blue. Mountains folding into distance in the view. Thermals rising from the valley, invisible rivers in the air. Every arc a quiet calculation, every turn precise and fair. Shadow gliding over forest, rivers winding far below. Every breath inside the motion moves the flow. Wind lines crossing through the sunlight, feathers start to rise. Something in the open sky replies. Fly, 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 fly. Falcon blazing through the burning daylight, golden edge along the way. Every motion cut from silence like a living thing. Falcon carving through the endless heaven, silver arcs across the air. Every spiral ride in distance, every breath away. Nothing holds the upper currents, nothing marks the line. Only wind and silent distance align. Fly, 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 fly. Falcon racing through the rising thermals,
Stone paths through the silent garden, bronze leaves on the ground, cold wind moving through the branches, no one else around. Iron gate beside the fountain, old lamps fading low, black wings crossing over twilight, long shadows grow. Footsteps echo through the courtyard, night begins to rise. Every branch above the pathway frames the sky. Bronze leaves falling through the garden, dark wings crossing overhead, cold wind moving past the fountain, stone paths softly spread, iron gates beside the lanterns, branches slowly bend, every quiet shadow deepens toward the end. Silent feathers over marble, night air through the trees, fading light along the walkway, moving through the leaves. Old bronze statues near the river, still against the night. Every pathway through the garden loses light. Blackbirds resting on the arches, broken vines along the wall, moonlight sliding past the branches, soft and slow it falls. Empty benches near the fountain, cold stone underhand, every corner of the garden, silence stands. Night air drifting through the branches, echoes start to rise. Every step beyond the gate feels alive. Bronze leaves falling through the garden, dark wings cutting through the sky, cold wind passing through the branches, quiet shadows lie. Iron gates beside the fountain, night begins to bend, every silent path inside the garden meets its end. Feathers drifting over marble, branches over stone, fading light along the walkway, no one here alone. Old bronze statues near the river, still against the night. Every quiet turn inside the garden fades from sight. Under silent bronze branches, moonlight glides, every hidden path inside the garden redefined. Bronze leaves falling through the garden, dark wings cutting through the sky, cold wind passing through the branches, quiet shadows lie. Iron gates beside the fountain, night begins to bend, every silent path inside the garden meets its end. Feathers drifting over marble, branches over stone, fading light along the walkway, night becomes its own. Old bronze statues near the river, still against the night. Every hidden corner of the garden holds the light. Bronze leaves drifting in the garden, raven wings above, stone paths under quiet branches, night remains enough.